Good morning everyone, welcome back to your maths class. And as you remember that last turn we started geometric progression where we learned about the general term for a given geometric progression. We also have seen how to differentiate between arithmetic progression and geometric progression. I hope you do remember. Okay, so here we are heading to our next exercise, which is sum of n terms of a GP. As we have learned in arithmetic progression how to calculate sum of n terms. Sum of n terms, that means whatever terms are given, like here I have taken a geometric progression 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and if they ask you to calculate sum of first three terms would be these three terms, no, 2, 4, 8, and they are asking you to calculate the sum. Sum means 2 plus 4 plus 8. So that's how we know that what is the meaning of sum. So here how to calculate sum of n terms of a GP. Here is the formula, and I hope that you all are aware with the notations we have used here. Small a stands for the very first term. Then we have this small r. Small r is your common ratio. How to calculate common ratio? Second term upon first term or third term upon second term. That's how we calculate common ratio. Okay. Now you see, we can calculate the sum. Sn stands for sum. Sum of n terms. Like write S7. That means we are talking about the sum of all 7 terms in a given GP. Okay. So that's how we differentiate. By the way, here we have sum of n terms, and this can be calculated by the formula. If r equals to 1, like if for a given GP, if r is coming 1, that is common ratio every time is 1. If I write an example for that, like 2, 2, 2, 2, if we take this GP, so every time the common ratio is same, 2 upon 2, 1, 2 upon 2, 1. So every time common ratio is actually coming 1 or common ratio is 1, then we simply add them n into a. So that would be the formula. So that's how we do. Now next is if r, somehow if we calculate r and r is coming less than 1. Less than 1 means what if r is coming 1 upon 3. So of course this fraction is less than 1. What if r is coming minus 1 upon 5. This is also less than 1. What if r is coming minus 7. This is also less than 1. So whenever r is less than 1, we use the formula a, which is the first term, in bracket 1 minus r to the power n. R is common ratio to the power n. N is the number of terms we are adding. Like 7 terms, so r would be n would be 7, and upon 1 minus r. This formula we will use when r is less than 1, and this formula we will use when r is greater than 1. Like if we calculate r and r is coming 2, which is surely greater than 1. So then we use this formula a r to the power n minus 1 upon r minus 1. So these are the formulas which we are going to use depending upon the value of r. If r is 1 or less than 1 or greater than 1. Okay. Now let us start the exercise. So here we have this question I have taken. Here it is saying find the sum of first 9 terms. How many terms we have to take? 9 terms of the given GP. Okay. So first what we do, we check what is the value of r. As you know that the very first term is 1. So the value of small a is 1. This we know. Now we will calculate what is r. And how to calculate r? R will be calculated by the ratio. It is a ratio of 2 terms, like T2 upon T1. What is your second term? That is minus 1 upon 2 upon T1. T1 is 1. So eventually it will give you minus 1 upon 2. That means r is coming minus 1 upon 2. And if r is coming minus 1 upon 2, which is of course less than 1. If I write the formula Sn, that is Sn, and here what is n? 9 terms. So we will write S9, and the formula we will apply is a 1 minus r to the power n upon 1 minus r. This formula we are going to use as r is coming less than 1. What is the value of r coming? It is coming minus 1 upon 2. So it is less than 1. Now this formula we are going to use to calculate S9. It is simple. Now just put the values and simplify. A is what? 1. So we will write 1 here. 1 minus r. R is what? Minus 1 upon 2. So now you see here is the minus of the formula, and then the value of r is minus 1 upon 2 to the power n. So to the power n. N is what? how many terms we are calculating, for how many terms we are taking? 9. So n is 9. This is the formula over 1 minus r. 1 minus r is 1 by minus 1 upon 2. So this minus and this minus will become plus 1 upon 2. Okay, that's how we have kept the values. Now let us simplify. So S9, it is 1, so no worry. Now here we have 1 minus. Now you see this minus, this whole bracket, if you see, it is minus to the power 9. You know, whenever a minus in a bracket, we have a minus with an odd power, it will become minus. And if a minus is with even power, it will become plus. Like if we are having minus 2 to the power 2, that is an even power. So it will eventually become minus minus plus, because it is coming 2 times, even number of times. And if it is coming odd number of times, then it will be minus. It will remain as a minus. So if we simplify the sign, so it will give you a minus. That minus and this minus will become plus. Is it okay? Now it will be 1 upon 2 to the power 9. If we simplify that, 1 to the power 9 will be 1 upon 2 to the power 9. If you simplify, it will come 512. 2 to the power 9 means 2, we multiply 9 times. And here if you see denominator 1 plus 1 by 2, if you simplify, that will give you 3 upon 2. Okay. Now next is, we just have to simplify S9. We are calculating, if you take this in the numerator, 512 will be your LCM, and then when you take LCM, you know how to simplify. 512 plus 1 over 3 upon 2. Is it okay? Now okay, next is, this will give you 513 upon 512. This will get reciprocated, and then you will get 2 upon 3. And when you simplify, will come 171 upon 256. So this is the sum of first 9 terms of this given GP. You just need to check what is the value of R, whether it is less than 1, greater than 1, or equal to 1, and then you apply the formula. Here I have taken another question. In the question it is given that the fourth term of a GP is 1 upon 27 and the seventh term of the GP is 1 upon 729. Okay, these two information they have given. They are asking you to calculate the sum of first 6 terms. That means they are asking you to calculate S6. Okay, so to calculate this, you know the formula, that in formula we want small a, that is your first term, we want R, that is your common ratio. So we are going to use these two information. Now you are aware that in GP, if we want to write T4, that is fourth term, that is the general formula is ARN minus 1. You remember? So T4 means, what is N now here? 4. So it will be AR, 4 minus 1 would be 3. So it will simply be AR to the power 3. Okay. So here if we write, it would be T4 means we can write it in terms of small a and r, that would be a to the power 3, 1 upon 27. Likewise, this T7 will be AR to the power 6 equals 1 upon 729. Okay. So this is first equation and second equation. Now to calculate or to simplify these two equations, let's say this is your first one and this is your second one. What I am going to do, I am dividing equation 2 by equation 1. Okay. We will do LHS together and RHS together. What is the LHS of equation 2? AR to the power 6 divided by LHS of equation 1, AR to the power 3. Now RHS. What is the RHS of equation 2? 1 upon 729, isn't it? And then divided by RHS of equation 1, 1 upon 27. When you write 1 upon 27, you can reciprocate it and that will be 27 upon 1, isn't it? Now you see we are getting this A and A, we can cancel. Here we have R to the power 6, R to the power 3. When we cancel, you will get only R to the power 3. And here we have 27 upon 729. Okay. When you simplify 27, when you cancel, this will give you 27. 27 into 27 will give you 27, 29, and that's how we have cancelled. So eventually we are getting R to the power 3, 1 upon 27. Here you see we are getting this 27 in denominator. So R to the power 3 we are getting 1 upon 27. Now if we want to calculate r, this root power 3 will go that side and it will become a cube root. So it is a cube root of 1 upon 27, and that we will get 3, because 27, the cube root of 27 is 3, and since it is in divide, so you will get r as 1 upon 3. Now since we have calculated the value of r here, next is to calculate the value of small a. Let us put the value of r in equation 1. What is our equation 1? That is ar to the power 3, 1 upon 27. A, we want to calculate what is r, 1 upon 3 and power 3. So 1 upon 3 to the power 3 equals 1 upon 27. A as it is 1 upon 3 to the power 3. So it will give you 1 upon 27 equals 1 upon 27. This and this will get cancelled, and eventually we will get the value of a as 1. Okay. So we have calculated the value of a 1. The value of r is 1 upon 3. Now we can calculate the sum of first 6 terms. Now first you see the value of r is coming 1 by 3, which is less than 1. If it is less than 1, what is the formula to calculate sum? That is Sn a 1 minus r to the power n upon 1 minus r. This formula we use whenever r is less than 1. So S, how many terms we have to take? 6 terms. So S6. A is coming 1. So we will write 1 here. 1 minus r. R is 1 upon 3. So we will write 1 upon 3 whole power n. What is our n? 6, because we have to calculate 6 terms. First 6 terms we have to take. So r to the power n, that is 1 upon 3 to the power 6 upon 1 minus r again. So it will be 1 upon 3. Isn't it? Okay. Now it is S to the S6. Now here if you see 1, no problem at all. So we have 1 minus 1 upon 3 to the power 6. So 1 to the power 6 will be 1 only, upon 3 to the power 6 will give you 729. Okay. Upon, here we have 1 minus 1 upon 3. You simplify and you take LCM, and when you simplify you will get it as 2 upon 3. Now let us see S6 we are getting, I am simplifying here. So here if you see the numerator, we have to take 729 as LCM. You take 729 as LCM, then you will get 729 minus 1 upon, I should better write it here. Okay. And then we have 2 upon 3. So eventually, I hope you are now can do the calculation. 729 minus 1 will give you 728 upon 729. And then we have 2 upon 3 in denominator. When you reciprocate, this will give you 3 upon 2. Is it okay? And when you simplify, you will get the answer 364 upon 243. That means the sum of first 6 terms is coming 364 upon 243. Is it okay? Here is our next question. It is saying how many terms of this GP? GP is 2 upon 9. Minus 1 upon 3, 1 upon 3, this is the GP given, must be taken to make the sum equal to 55 upon 72. Actually they are saying that the sum is given as 55 upon 72, but they don't know that this sum is coming when we are taking how many terms. That means we don't know how many terms we are taking. Eventually we have to calculate how many terms, means we have to calculate the value of small n. Is it okay? That's how. So let us start. First we will see the value of small r. Okay. If I write the GP once again, it is 2 upon 9 minus 1 upon 3 and 1 upon 2. That is first 3 terms are given. Now first to see, we have to calculate r. How to calculate r? That is common ratio. Second term upon the first term. What is your second term? It is minus 1 upon 3 upon first term, which is 2 upon 9. Is it okay? Now to simplify, we write the numerator as it is 1 upon 3 and then we reciprocate the denominator 9 upon 2. When you simplify, this will give you minus 3 upon 2. That means our r, that is a common ratio, is coming minus 3 upon 2, which is less than 1. So now we know that r is less than 1. To apply formula, and see, a is 2 upon 9. So if I write it here, A is 2 upon 9 and our R is coming minus R 3 upon 2. So with these informations we can apply the formula, which is Sn A 1 minus R to the power n upon 1 minus R. This is the formula we use when R is less than 1. Okay. Now we don't know how many terms we are taking, that means we don't know the value of small n. So we take it as n only. That's what we have to calculate. A, what is your A? 2 upon 9. Is it okay? And 1 minus R. What is R coming? Minus 3 upon 2. So now be very careful. This minus I have applied for, it is in the formula, and R is minus 3 upon 2. This is your R to the power n. N we are not knowing. We don't know yet. We have to calculate it. Upon 1 minus R. R is minus 3 upon 2. So if I write it once again, minus 3 upon 2. Is it okay? Also, if you see in the question, it is given that the sum equals to 55 upon 72. This is your sum. That means we know the value of this sum also, which is coming 55 upon 72. Isn't it? Equals, now if I simplify it further, 2 upon 9 as it is. You see this is coming, or this is 1 minus, and now just now we cannot do anything since we don't know the value of n. So we will be writing it like that, minus 3 upon 2 to the power n upon what you get in the denominator. This minus and this minus will become plus. So eventually it is 1 plus 3 upon 2. Okay. Okay. So here if I simplify it further, it is LHS, we are having the sum 55 upon 72 equals 2 upon 9. By the way, if I ask you to simplify this denominator, it is 1 plus 3 upon 2. When you add them, you will get it as 5 upon 2, isn't it? When you take the LCM, it will give you 2 plus 3, which is 5 upon 2. So when you, this is in the denominator, and when you reciprocate, it will become 2 upon 5. So that's what I'm going to write here. 1 minus 3 upon 2 to the power n. Now you see, let me write so that you can see. This denominator you are getting as 5 upon 2, isn't it? And you know when we have to reciprocate, it will become 2 upon 5. So it is 55 upon 72 as it is, 2 upon 9, and we have 1 minus of 3 upon 2 to the power n. Everything as it is. Just that 5 upon 2 I am reciprocating, so it will give you 2 upon 5. Is it okay, everyone? That's how we have done. Okay. Now you see. Now you keep this in your mind that focus on this n. We have to calculate this n. That means slowly if we can cancel something, otherwise we take all the things to the other side to calculate this n. Just focus on this n. Okay. Now here you see this 2 upon 5 is with multiplication. So here you can bring, see 5 is in the denominator. So it will come here in numerator, or you can say the 5 is in divide. So it will come here in multiplication. One by one I am taking all the numbers to this side. 5 is in the divide. So it will come here in multiply. Okay. Now this 2 is in multiplication. It will come here in divide. Is it okay? Okay. Now you see this 2 upon 9 we have. So here we have this 9 in divide. So it will come here in multiplication, and this 2 is in multiplication. So it will come here in divide. That's how we have brought this 2 upon 5 to this side and 2 upon 9 to this side. Is it okay? And that side, since we have taken these two numbers that side, we are left with RHS. In RHS we are left with minus 3 upon 2 to the power n whole power. Okay, here we have this thing. If you can simplify 9 8 is 72, you will get, so when you multiply 55 into 5 will give you 275 upon 2 into 2 4, 4 into 8 will give you 32 equals 1 minus, right hand side what we have, minus 3 upon 2 to the power n. Now if you see the right hand side, it is actually 1 minus and this term, that is minus 3 upon 2 to the power n. Now you focus on this n, as I have asked you, you focus on this, and we have to calculate this n. And if you see, this bracket is with minus sign. So what if I bring this bracket to the LHS? Whatever we bring to this side or that side, it will always changes its sign. So this bracket is with minus sign, it will come here and it will become plus. So if I write this minus 3 upon 2 to the power n, we are talking about this bracket which was with minus sign, so it is coming here and it will become plus. Now that side we have 1 left, and I am taking this whole quantity which is in with plus sign, it will goes to that side and it will become minus. That is minus 275 upon 32, isn't it? Now if you see, if I write it 3 upon 2 to the power n, how to simplify? You take LCM. What is the LCM here? We have 32 as LCM. When you simplify, it is 32 minus 275. Okay. Now let us simplify further. Here LHS we have 3 upon 2 to the power n equals, this is 275 minus 32, no, plus minus minus. So when you simplify, when you subtract, this will give you minus 243 upon, because plus minus minus, and here we apply the minus sign because 275 is with minus sign, upon 32. Is it okay? Now as you have learned in the junior classes that to calculate this is minus 3 upon 2 to the power n, and here we have something. Can we write here, can we write it in terms of 3 upon 2? You know, whenever in LHS and RHS the bases are same, we can compare the powers. Like if you have 2 to the power x here in LHS and you have 2 to the power 3 in RHS. So if the bases are same, we can compare the powers. So x will be equals to 3. That's what we are going to do. So here we have the base 3. What is the base here? It is minus 3 upon 2 and the power is n. So this 243 is nothing but 3 to the power 5. If you multiply 3 5 times, you will get 243. And what is 32? It is 2 to the power 5. Okay. And then we have this minus sign as it is. Now minus 3 upon 2 to the power n. Now here you see, can we write it as 3 upon 2 together and to the power 5 whole power 5, and we have to make it negative also. And you see, if I write it like that, since we are having a power which is odd one, so if I write minus with the power, so it will eventually be minus, because whenever we have minus with odd power, it will be minus only. So now you see, as we have written LHS and RHS, the bases are same now. Here we have minus 3 upon 2, here again we have minus 3 upon 2. Then by comparing the powers, you will get n equals to 5. That means the value of small n, that how many terms we are taking? We are actually taking 5 terms. That means we are taking a sum of 5 terms, and then the answer is coming. Okay. Here I have taken next question. It's a little bit different. So let's read the question and let's see what to do. In a GP, there is a ratio given of what? Sum of first 3 terms. Sum of first 3 terms. So sum of first 3 terms we write as S3 is 2. The ratio is 2. As, or if I do not write this, let me write is 2. First 3 terms is 2. That of first 6 terms. So S6. Is it okay? And it is given as 125 is to 152. This is the information they have given. You have to calculate R, that is the common ratio. So this is what we have to do. So if I write this information as S3 upon S6, you know that S2 means, and then 125 upon 152. Is it okay? Now, since it is S3 and S6, we know that what is the formula for sum. We have 2 formulas, when it is R is less than 1 and when R is greater than 1. No problem, whichever you want to apply, you will eventually get the value. So if I recall the formula, it would be Sn a 1 minus r to the power n upon 1 minus r. This is our formula. Here if we apply this for S3, so what is the value of small n? That would be 3. And S6, what is the value of small n? 6. And just now we don't know what is the value of small a, that is the first term. We have to calculate r, we don't know r as well. So let us apply formula for S3. Hope you can apply the formula. Depending S3, that means n is 6. According to the formula, what should we write? A. So a 1 minus r to the power n. 1 minus r, which we don't know, to the power n. n is here what? 3. So we will be writing it as r to the power 3 upon 1 minus r. 1 minus r. Is it okay? Upon this whole main divide. Okay. Now h6. What is our x is according to formula? If you apply s6, so that would be a again and 1 minus r to the power n. 1 minus r to the power. This time we are writing s6. So what is our n? It would be power 6 upon 1 minus r again. So 1 minus r. Is it okay, everyone? Equals, we have 125 upon 152. Clear? Okay, here in LHS, if you see, this is your numerator, this thing is your numerator, and this is your denominator. So we are going to write numerator as it is, a 1 minus r to the power 3 upon 1 minus r, and to simplify, we are actually reciprocating the denominator. So when you reciprocate, you will get 1 minus r upon a 1 minus r to the power 6. This is how we have simplified our LHS. What is there in our RHS? It is simply 125 upon 152. Is it clear? Now you see this a and this a you can cancel. This 1 minus r and 1 minus r in the bracket you can cancel, and you are left with 1 minus r to the power 3 upon 1 minus r to the power 6 in the denominator equals 125 upon 152. Is it okay? Now, how to simplify? Since we are supposed to calculate r, it was asked to calculate the common ratio. So, see what I am going to do. It is 1 minus r to the power 3 upon this r to the power 6. Can I write it as r to the power 3 to the power 2? I am just breaking the powers. You see, 3 into 2, it is still 6. I have just written it like that. So, next step I will show you why I have written it like this. 125, 152 as it is. Now you see, what if I write this 1 as a square, because 1 square will be 1 only. So now you see, this is like a square and b square, where your a is 1 and your b this thing, which is r to the power 3. So I hope you are getting. If I write it for you, a is actually your 1 and your b is r to the power 3. Isn't it? A square minus b square. So in the denominator I am going to apply the identity. Numerator is going to be like that, r to the power 3. Denominator, if you apply the identity, a square minus b square will be in one bracket a plus b, another bracket a minus b. So what is your a? It is 1 plus b. What is your b? R to the power 3. Another bracket 1 minus a minus b. What is your a? 1 minus b, that is r to the power 3 equals 125 upon 152. Is it clear? Now you all see. Here, if you see this in the numerator, we are getting 1 minus r to the power 3. And in the denominator also we are getting 1 minus r to the power 3, which we can simply cancel. So LHS v, numerator we have only 1 upon, denominator we have this 1 plus r to the power 3 equals 125 upon 152. Is it okay? Okay, next step what I am going to do, I am just reversing the sides, reversing the terms. Here LHS, RHS both. So if I reverse it, that will, it is 1 upon 1 plus r to the power 3. If I reverse it, it will be 1 plus r to the power 3 upon 1. Okay. So if I have done it in the LHS, I have to do it on the RHS as well. So it will give you 152 upon 125. Okay. So if I write, whether you write upon 1 or not, no problem. So it will only be 1 plus r to the power 3 equals 152 upon 125. Now why I have done this? Because we want this r to the power 3, we will be writing r to the power 3 as it is. This plus 1, we can take it to the other side and it will give you 152 upon 125 minus 1, because it was here with plus sign. It will go to that side, it will become minus. So upon 1 we can take LCM here. What is your LCM? It is 125 your LCM. So when you simplify, it is 152 minus 125, isn't it? Now if you see, this will further give you r to the power 3. 152 minus 125 will give you 27. Okay, upon we have 125. To calculate r, we have to take power 3 to that side. It will become cube root. So it will be cube root of 27 upon 125. Is it okay? Now you know cube root of 27 is 3 upon cube root of 125 is 5. So the value of r is coming 3 upon 5, which is of course less than 1. So the formula which we have applied is a 1 minus r to the power n upon 1 minus r is correct. No problem if you have applied the formula for the r greater than, you considered r greater than 1, because we just now are getting this result now. Here we are done with our chapter geometric progression, and we are done with our arithmetic progression and geometric progression. I want you all to practice a number of questions as you can, so that you differentiate between AP and GP and you can simplify. I tell you, these exercises are not very tough if you practice. So you know that if you practice, and every time I say that practice makes a man perfect. So if you want to be perfect, you want to be good in mathematics, you need to practice a lot. And since these two chapters are quite new, so you need to practice a lot. We will meet in our next class.